Well, good morning, my friend. Here it is. We are at the end of the week. Welcome to the Pastors Podcast this Friday morning, March the 3rd, as we end out another week. And of course, this will be the first weekend of March, and a lot of churches start really getting going. They have their spring campaigns, and I hope that your church is as well. I think it's good for churches to have a spring campaign. It kind of helps you to kind of get a jump start. There's a lot of benefits to having one. And of course, you got the Pharisees that'll say, "Well, you're bribing people." We're not bribing anybody. We're trying to get people to come, and looking forward to people being saved. Even this weekend, had a good day out in soul winning yesterday. Was able to lead a dear lady to Christ. She was having a hard time in life, and she's supposed to be in church on Sunday. And got lined up for baptism. Excited about what the Lord's going to do. And so you stay busy for the Lord. Let's all have a good weekend. How about that? Every church. I rejoice when I see churches all over America on Sunday night and Monday morning posting on the Facebook and on Twitter what God's doing inside their lives. It's about time that we get excited about what God's doing with other churches. I'm not competing against any other church. I am rejoicing with all the other churches. The only one I compete with is myself, and I'm doing what I can do. And that's where we got to get. If God's blessing another church, wonderful. Man, you ought to rejoice with them. Let the preachers know, man, it's exciting seeing what God's doing with you. Don't get jealous. Don't let the bug of jealousy get inside of you. It'll destroy you if you get that, and you'll start looking for bigger things all the time. And because you're always wanting to be the top dog, stop trying to be the top dog. Just try to do something. Do your best, compete with yourself, and let God worry about the rest. Well, today, I want to talk to you. And by the way, before I get to that, let me invite you now. The Old Paths Conference, people have been registering every day, looking like it's going to be a great conference. I'm looking forward to that. And I'd encourage you, if you're coming right now, register right now, oldpathsconference.com. It is going to be a great week, and I'd encourage you to come. Well, today I want to talk about don't jump ship. In Acts 27:31, the scripture says, Paul said to the centurion, to the soldiers, except these abide in the ship, ye cannot be saved. When I was taught how to fly airplanes, my instructor taught me not to turn around if I ever got myself into a storm. He said that if you get in a storm and you turn around, he says, oftentimes you'll be turning into the fiercest part of the storm because you may have already gotten through the worst part of the storm. He says his admonition was to go through the storm, and the safest way to get through a storm is to go through it. He was teaching me, don't jump ship just because of the storms. Now, Paul, as he was being transported as a prisoner to Rome, he warned the captain of the ship, by the way, who should have listened to Paul, but because the captain of the ship, so I'm a captain, I know more than this preacher. He should have listened to the preacher, what he should have done. But this captain, he knew the storm was coming, but the captain didn't listen to Paul. When the storm came, it seemed as if the storm was going to kill them. Paul admonished everyone. He said, except these abide in the ship, ye cannot be saved. Paul was saying to these people, don't jump ship. He was saying, he says, your safety is found by staying in the ship. He says, it seems as if the ship it might be broken and that everyone's going to die. But it's safer to stay in the ship while they face the storm than it would be by jumping ship trying to swim to land. Because they all listened, not one person died. Now, we all face storms in life. Doesn't matter who we are. Everybody's going to face a storm. But the storms are not time to jump ship and stop serving God. It's the storm that proves our trust to God that he can deliver. Many who seem to be solid Christians have jumped ship in their storm only to find regret and heartache later on because they should have stayed in the ship, and they found that out. When the tough times come, you have to abide in the ship so that you're safe. The ship that has brought you this far will get you through the storms if you don't jump it. I want to share a few areas where we have to stay in the ship when the storms come. First, don't jump ship when battles come. Battles are very unpleasant, but jumping ship and going to the world has never made life easier. Many jumped ship when the battles came and thought the other side would be a whole lot easier, but they found that they lost the family and their children on the other side, and here they are left alone with nothing. It'd been better if you just stayed in the ship. Second, don't jump ship because your children have gone wayward. Just because your children go wayward, mom and dad, does not mean you should quit your church and follow them into compromise. The worst thing to do when your children go wayward is to jump ship. Because by jumping ship, you're telling your children that what you taught them was not true and that their compromising way is the right way. You stay in the old ship of the old past. And when your children jump ship because your testimony of staying on the ship, if you stay, your testimony of staying is what might bring them back. But if you jump, I'm telling you, they'll stay out there. They're not going to come back. Third, don't jump ship when your church goes through tough times. Too many are looking for a new ship to ride when the old ship of the local church that has brought them this far is the safest ship to get them to the destination. I've seen many who have jumped ship and left the church and their pastor in the midst of the battle, but they all lose their children. I've seen that time and time again. If the church you have attended was the right church before the battles, my friend, it's still the right church during the battles. Now, every church is going to face battles. And if you start jumping ship every time a church faces battles, you'll be jumping ship for the rest of your life. You stay there in that church and you support that pastor. You support that church as you go through the battles. Boy, good thing that we don't have that in the church of Book of Acts. We don't have the Christians in that church like we have today, that something happens in the church and everybody, well, let's go somewhere else. No, stay in the ship. Fourth, don't jump ship in the tough times. Whether it's a financial struggle, health struggles, marriage struggles, just a tough time you're facing in your personal life, you need to stay on the ship because that's where you're safe. I'd rather die by staying on the ship than die by jumping. Listen to me. It's tempting to jump ship and quit in the tough times. But safety to get through the times is found by staying on the ship. My friend, the King James Bible is still the right Bible in times of storms. You don't forsake the King James Bible and jump ship to some other perversion. The local church is the right ship to stay in. Don't you jump ship when the tough times come. Old-fashioned preaching, hey, it always works. Don't you jump ship and say, well, we're just going to go to this pat me on the back and this just little feel good type. No, you stay in the ship with the old-fashioned preaching, the old-fashioned music, the old-fashioned soul winning, the old-fashioned bus ministry, the old-fashioned loving people. You stay on the ship. Oh, many have jumped ship and stopped the soul winning, lowered their standards, and looked like the world, put up the colored lights in their auditorium. What's wrong with colored lights? You tell me. That's what the bars and the rock concerts do. Why are some of you preachers trying to copy the rock concert? Oh, maybe it's because you're listening to that type of music. Maybe that's why you're doing it. Hey, stop jumping ship. Somewhere I wish we'd get some preachers with a backbone. Most of them have a noodle for a backbone, don't have any way to stand in the tough times. How do you think the old timers did it? How do you think Paul did it? How do you think Stephen did it? My friend, how do you think Job did it? Boy, we couldn't write a book with most preachers today because most of them crumble in the tough times. You stick with it. You stand by the old time religion. Don't change. Don't jump ship. And church member, when you go through the tough times, don't you jump ship either. If it's right in the good times, it's right in the bad times. Now, let's stop trying to find some other way to get out of this storm. Let's just ride the ship through the storm. The old ship of Zion has never failed when you're going through the storms. You stay on ship. Stay on board, because I'm telling you, you get through the ship to the other side, and you're going to say, well, praise God. The old ship of Zion made another trip, made another one through the storms. Let's not quit. Let's not jump ship. Let's stay there. Let's say what's right is right, wrong is wrong. Going to stick with the old ship of Zion. Not going to change. Just keep on going forward. My friend, that's the secret to making it through life and saying, boy, I made it. I made it. Not by jumping ship, but by staying on the ship. Well, I hope this is a great help to you today. Now, let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great weekend, my friend.